and a very good evening to you all. They're going to go with Shoe. Purple today. Hope you're feeling grand and all is well in your world. Hello there, everybody. Welcome to the final demo review of the Harley Benton ST Deluxe series that I have in my hand here. Excuse me, I have hiccups. Okay, so if you've seen Monday's video, you'll know that I loved and didn't like this guitar all at the same time. I can't say I hate this guitar because I don't. I love it to bits. I love the look of it. I love the gold hardware. It's the reason I picked this model. Is I wanted this look. I wanted this guitar. You know what I mean? But if you've seen Monday's video, you'll know that this problem was the biggest problem. The neck was too big, and I was finding it really hard to play it without it tiring my arm out. So I could play it, but it was just like, it was a lot of effort. It was a lot of effort, and my arm got fatigued and tired very, very, very quickly as a result. So I was a bit like, well, something's going to have to do about this. I didn't want to send the guitar back because I love the guitar. I like the pickups, I like the way it feels. But like I say, the fit and finish on this thing is perfect. It's immense. It feels absolutely rock solid. It really does. It's absolutely immense. I can't rave enough about how good the fit and finish of this guitar is. The way the neck fits, the machine heads, the way it stays in tune, the tremolo. Now I've got it right. The tremolo came locked down, and I had to screw it out, and I'll talk a bit more about that in a bit. You know, the way the electrics worked. It's just an awesome guitar. It feels mega. It just feels like it's built to last. It's just awesome. I absolutely love it to bits, and I'm So I didn't want to send it back because I had a bit of a connection with it in that video. You can kind of see it. I get a bit kind of like carried away and a bit lost. So I kind of had a connection with it from the get-go. It was just the fatness of the neck was like, I can't deal with that. You know what I mean? It's like when you play guitar, it has to be comfy. You have to be comfortable playing it, and it doesn't really want to be fighting you a great deal. You can have a little bit of a fight, but when it's really pressing against you and really kind of like, no, you shall not play, like that, it's not on, really. You can't play comfortably if it's constantly fighting. You're like, ah, and then your arm gets tired and your hand gets tired, and all of a sudden you just can't play. You don't want that. So that was big. That was really bugging me. So yes, I planed the neck. Well, I recarved and sanded the neck, everybody. So now this neck is substantially, well, it's thinner at the top end and it gets fatter as it goes down. I actually took the specs off for 62. So this neck is not a million miles off my my old Strat. It feels similar. The only thing it doesn't feel the same is the width, because the across the fretboard that way is a lot bigger than all my guitars. Actually, I think this is the widest fretboard I actually have. It's really, really wide. But I say the neck profile now is so much more comfy. Like I say, the only thing I'm getting used to now is just, I say, the width. And there's also the usual kind of like, new guitar pains where the guitar feels a little bit kind of like, it's just like, I need to be played kind of feeling. So it's just got new guitar feeling, you know what I mean? It doesn't feel worn in yet. So that's what I'm playing through. I've been playing this guitar constantly. And the intro jam for today was the first thing I came up with as soon as I finished sanding the neck to where I wanted. As soon as I got the neck to the thickness, I was like, that feels really comfy. And then I finished the neck, just kind of like, really fine sandpaper it and just kind of finish it. I've left it unfinished as well because I quite like the look of it. I'll give you a close-up in a minute. But as soon as I did that, I came up here and I plugged in. And the intro jam is the first thing that came out. It was just this kind of like riff, Arama, Iron Maiden-y kind of thing that kind of came out. And I was like, that's cool. So I immediately got the camera and recorded the second take. Because the first take was me messing around with it. So second take is what you saw at the intro jam. And it was just really... I liked it. It was really, really cool. It was something a bit different as well. It was just a bit more of a rocky thing instead of a psychedelic thing. But yeah, this neck feels absolutely a million times better. I've rolled the edges on it. I've recarved and sanded the neck down. Well, I carved it first. I scraped it away, got rid of the lacquer, got down to the maple wood, and the maple actually is gorgeous. The piece of maple is absolutely stunning. It's got these gorgeous growth lines in it, just stunning, and just made it comfortable. Just so made it so it fits my hand more. And like I say, up here it's really skinny, like a real vintage Strat, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger as you go down. So when you get down to like the 12th fret, it's quite kind of a handful, but not really. You know what I mean? There's still some kind of thing there, but it does kind of fill your hand in like your palm-shaped way, so to say. So up here for open chords is quite skinny, and then you get down here, it gets a lot bigger. It kind of just graduates. And I have took a substantial amount out the neck. And also I didn't video it because it took me 4 days. 4 days when I got chance to do it, I was doing it basically. So it was kind of a case of like, I didn't really film it. I just was kind of like engrossed in what I was doing. But like I say, all I did was I used a scraper and just like took the neck down in tiny increments, just like literally over a period of 4 days, just gradually doing it slow, really slow. Just so I made sure I didn't go too far and I didn't go too less, you know what I mean? Because you don't want to get, you get to a point where you kind of like, oh, there's the truss rod, you know what I mean? So yeah, just really, really slow. And I've got a knife that's ridiculously sharp, and I just used that and I just scraped the neck, and just and then once I'd done that, I sandpapered it from I think it was 80 to 600. So I started with 80 just to kind of get some of the knife kind of scrapes out of it and make sure it's a nice kind of even profile. And then it kind of went up from 80 to something else, and then I ended up at like 600, and it's just really lovely and smooth now. So that's the neck. So yeah, the neck has been reprofiled, and I love it now, and I can play it. And this guitar is going nowhere because of that. I really like it. Like I said, I've just got to play it in now and get used to. Well, just got to get out that new guitar fit. It's got to get a bit more worn in now. Tremolo is now screwed out, and the tremolo actually gives a little bit, which is nicer. This thing holds tune like nobody's business. It's absolutely awesome tuning-wise. Its stability is just ace, and I love these machine heads. These machine heads are really... They're dead sensitive, but they feel solid. You know what I mean? For like, you know, for budget machine heads, these awesome. Tremolo's awesome. I like the feel of the volume part. I like the feel of the tone parts. The select switch is a bit clunky, but you know, I'm not going to lose sleep over that. Like I say, big block tremolo as well. I love the tremolo on this thing. I like the sound of this tremolo. It's got a really nice thing. Pickups, the Roswell pickups. Let's talk about them quickly. These pickups are really nice, but, and there is a but here, there seems to be a very, 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 very pronounced mid-range with these pickups. They seem, yeah, it's very, they're not, they're Stratish, but not really, if you know what I mean. They're very, where a Strat pickup to me is kind of a lot of highs and a lot of lows, and the mids are kind of scooped. You know what I mean? That's what a Strat pickup kind of is to me. In these Roswell pickups, in this guitar, they feel a lot more even. Like, you know, like the lows, the mids, and the highs are all on the same level. There's not that mid scoop. And as a result, the guitar does sound a little more clunky than a normal kind of Strat. You know, if you know what I mean. But, in all fairness, I think these pickups sound more P90-ish than regular Strat single coils, if you know what I mean. Let me just turn the rear down for them. But if you... Oh. I've got my delay on because of the thing I'm going to do in a bit, but there's a bit more of a clunk to them than regular Strats. And when you're playing rhythm guitar and the neck pickup or the bridge or in the middle, you definitely kind of feel that. You know what I mean? There's definitely that mid-range kind of. It's not a hump. It's not pushed mid-range. It's definitely kind of. It's more even. You know what I mean? So instead of it kind of like being like that, where the mids are scooped, it's a lot more like that to me. That's the way it feels to me. Not to say these pickups aren't rubbish, because they're certainly not. I really like them. They've got their own kind of sound, and when you stick distortion through them, they really scream. They really sing and scream, and I really like these pickups. They're really, really nice. The gold anodized scratch plate, I'm in love with. I love that scratch plate. I do think that my guitar has discoloured, because if you look on Thoman's website, this guitar, it's a lot whiter than this. This is very yellow, and if you look at the back of this guitar, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but if you look at the back, if I maybe get it in the light there, that's the back, and then there's the front. I don't know if you're able to tell, but the back is actually a lot whiter than the front. And there's these fade lines where the finish has almost kind of like tinted itself down. So, what's my final verdict on the Harley Benton Deluxe? Is it Deluxe Series? Yeah, the Deluxe Series here. My final verdict on this guitar is awesome, but be aware of the neck and the mid hump. Well, not the mid hump, but the mid-range boost of these pickups. And also be aware that these pickups are very microphonic. So the moment you put distortion on them, they do whistle, and it is something you kind of have to kind of like go against, if you know what I mean. But you know, I mean, that is what it is. But they are very whistly. They are very microphonic pickups. You know, the moment you put kind of gain through them, they do whistle at you. They do the steam trade. You know, you can. Oh, that was terrible. But you know what I mean. So just be aware of that. Be aware of a neck. If you don't like big necks, I can't recommend it just because of my own experience. Because you know, but if you do like. If you like this guitar and you have the ability to, you know, and you want to just sand down the neck, it's not a great hardship to do. You know what I mean? Once you get through the lacquer, which was another thing as well, the lacquer on the neck wasn't very thick at all, which I was absolutely. You have no idea how happy I was when I found out the lacquer on the neck was really, really, you know, thin, because I was like, this is going to take forever, and I was scraping the lacquer away. I don't sand the lacquer; I scrape it until I hit the maple, and then I'm able to chip all the lacquer away. Always wear eye protection at that point because it chips and gets in your eye, and if it gets in your eye, it hurts. But yeah. So, final verdict on this guitar is I can't recommend it to people who like big necks unless you want to sand the neck down. Be aware of the mids of the pickups. They're not. This guitar doesn't sound particularly vintagey, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? It kind of does, but doesn't really. You know, there's none of that mid scoop you get with a normal kind of Strat pickup. It's a lot more kind of like like I say, these pickups remind me a lot more of a P90 characteristic than they do of a single coil. You know, there's a lot more kind of a P90 kind of bark to them than there is a single coil kind of like, you know, thing to them, like a hollowy, glassy single coil thing. Anyway, so yeah. Other than that, the guitar stays in tune alright. The fit and finish is absolutely stunning. It sounds great. And I say, if you like big necks, you'll love it. If you don't like big necks, but you want this guitar and you've got the ability to sand the neck down, go for it. But I can't recommend it to like people who are just starting out on guitar. The neck will just cause you problems, especially playing bar chords and open chords. It's not going to be very comfy for you. But like I say, you know, if you like big necks, this guitar is probably one for you. But I've got to say, the neck was just silly. It was way too big, and for me, you know, in my opinion, I don't really. I don't know, I just didn't like it. Hence, I've sanded the neck down. I didn't want to lose the guitar. I did not want to send the guitar back. I love this guitar. It's the reason I picked this guitar in the first place is because of the way it looks, and you know. I love the look of. I've always loved the look of this kind of Strat since I saw Dave Gilmour's 0001 Strat, which is kind of what this reminds me of. And also, the thing I'm going to play for you in a minute is inspired by Mr. DG himself. Okay, so, and I'm going to try and channel him as best I can. And also, this guitar does with the governor, does a really good job of kind of replicating Dave Gilmour's kind of tone. It's really cool. I don't know, I've been at 10. But anyway, let me quickly show you the neck. And then we'll make some noise. Okay, so as you can see, that's where I started basically, you know, sanding, and it's sanded down to. Let me get that strap out of the way. So yeah, there we go. That entire section there that's unfinished is where I've basically sanded it. And I don't know if you'll be able to see this. If I can get down here, maybe. Let me see if I can. I don't know if you'll be able to see. Strap sticking to me, but if you look, if you can see, where's the skunk stripe? There it is. Okay, so you can see this curve here, but it's now there. But it's kind of that gradual kind of curve. The neck still looks kind of big actually. It's not actually that big. It's kind of a bit strange. You can kind of hopefully see the kind of gradual kind of thickness. I'm looking in the screen at the same time. Hopefully you can kind of see. Try and get it to a right angle where you can see. The neck kind of gets gradually bigger as you go down, which again, these measurements are kind of pretty much the same to the millimeter of my old Strat, so they're kind of identical. But like I say, if you can see this curve here, going from kind of like the volute area down to like where the skunk stripe is there, hopefully you can kind of see that curve, that inward curve. That was near enough flat, so you can kind of see how much I've took out of the neck, if you will. because from here it was kind of straight down. So it's literally, I don't know. I've took millimeters out of this neck to make it comfy. Because it just wasn't. It just was not comfy. It was just tiring. It was exhausting to play. And I was just like, I actually had kind of arm, kind of like, not cramp, but I had a bit of an arm ache for the rest of the day after playing this guitar. But like I say, at its price point, I wasn't overly worried about doing the neck, like, you know, reprofiling the neck, you know what I mean? If this was like a $2,500 custom shop, I might probably change my mind. I probably wouldn't do that. I'll probably just send it back. But because of its price point, you don't feel so bad about modding it, which is what's awesome about these guitars. Is, you know, you can get a guitar like this with its fit and finish is just stunning, and you know, you don't really worry about kind of like, you know, bumping it or doing stuff like reprofiling the neck and whatnot. And the neck just feels gorgeous now. It's so easy to play because there's no finish on it. There's no, you know, it's just awesome. Just need to play it in now. So yes, you will be seeing this guitar. I will not be getting rid of this guitar, but I still have my reservations. I'm gonna have to try some more Harley Bentons. I'm gonna have to try some more at some point, because if this is anything to go by, I'm just a bit like, well, you know, I know people out there like big necks, and that's cool, but not everyone does. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I find it very hard to recommend a guitar with that big of an. This was, like I say, it was just a tree trunk cut in half. Anyway, enough jibber jabbering. My overall opinion is, at this point in time, I don't know if I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I love this guitar. That's all I can say at this point in time. But I love it now because I've done the neck down. It's not, you know, I loved the guitar when it came out of the box. Hated the neck. Now I love the neck. You know, I like the pickups. They're not really my favourite kind of single coil sound that I've ever heard in this guitar, but I do like them, and they are different, and I do like that. So anyway, enough jabbering. I've talked for way too long. So let me play it a little bit more for you, and let's get lost in it and see what it does, because it's an awesome guitar. It really is an awesome guitar. I do love it. I really do love it. And I say, it's going nowhere. I really love this guitar. It just looks cool, and it feels cool now, and it plays cool, and I really like the sound. Okay, so enough jibber jabber. Kick on the governor. Let's make some noise. Okie dokie, people for tube. There you go. This guitar definitely has something special. I just don't. I love it. It's awesome. With the neck where it is now and the way I can comfortably play it. Happy Dave, and a happy day. And this strap keeps falling down. But yeah, this guitar is ace. Like I say, that neck though is a bit of a deal killer for me. I've got to be honest. Nothing but the neck is a deal killer. The fact I had to spend 4 days kind of recarving it to a more of a shape that I'm comfortable playing it is a bit of a pig, especially if you don't want to have to do that. It's kind of like, you know, do I really want to be kind of like sat carving a neck? I'd rather be playing the guitar. But it has proven worth it, if you know what I mean, because this guitar does sound awesome. Like I said, the pickups aren't something I would normally go for, but I do like them nonetheless. The tremolo arm, I've got to say, does still feel a bit stiff. But again, I don't know if that will kind of ease up with time, or we will find out with time. But it's a really awesome guitar. I really, really like it. Like I say, it's really, really nice, and it's nice to have the guitar that I wanted as well. Because I looked through the Harley Benton back catalogue of all the guitars, and I didn't want that one. I didn't want that one. I came across this one. And I was like, that one looks different, and I like the look of that one, so I want that one. That was the one I wanted. So it's nice to have the one I wanted, if that makes any sense. And the fact I can play it is really, really cool. So yeah, it'll get its first gig outing at the end of the month, and we'll see how it does in a live context. But it's really nice. I mean, the neck now feels really, really comfy. It's just a lot better than it was. And I mean, I understand that some people do like big necks. That's totally cool. But the fact is, I don't. I'm not a massive big neck fan. I mean, I do like certain kind of, like Les Pauls, like big necks on Les Pauls, but this neck felt way too big. Like, it was a bit easy. It felt a lot bigger than a Les Paul, and you know, it was just uncomfortable. It was just uncomfortable. Whereas this is a lot nicer now, and I really love this guitar. It's really, really cool. It's really growing on me. Every day I play it more and more and more, and I just really like it. So it's really, really cool. So yeah, there we go, everybody. This is final verdict on it is I love it, but like I say, be wary. Be very wary of these guitars. Have a string tree rattling. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, just because of that neck, because if it's just massive. It's just really, really big. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, everybody. I'll see you again. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'll see you again on Monday for another vid. I think it might be a katana vid on Monday. People have been asking me about, like, you know, what are the settings I had on Monday, actually, for this guitar. What are the settings I had on that? And people have been asking me off YouTube about that kind of thing. So I might drag the Katana 100 up here and kind of like give you a rundown of the settings I have programmed into it. All 8 presets of mine, and tell you the settings and whatnot, because quite a few people have been asking about that. Okay, so anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, everybody. Like I say, Harley Benton guitar, really awesome guitar, do love it. Now I've got rid of the beef in the neck, but yeah, really, really cool. Just be aware, because a lot of people put comments saying that their necks were too big as well when they've got a Harley Benton. So, you know, all I can say is just be aware. But if you like big necks, quid's in. But yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, everybody. Hope it was okay, and I will see you again. Have a great weekend, have a great morning, afternoon, good evening. Goodbye now. Thank you very much for watching. One more weird dive bomb, why not?